Probably done in a week or two.
Thank you, baby.
There's Bibles over there if you want.
Matthew chapter 7, good stuff here.
Yeah, Cody, you need to get one because you need to.
Jesus has been telling us how to live really, rather than the hypocritical way that everybody was being taught. And the same hypocritical way they were being taught then is the same hypocritical way people are being taught now. Because the emphasis is always on the outward. All religions seem to emphasize the outward, and Jesus from the very beginning has always emphasized the inward. Because he's concerned about the heart, he's concerned about the attitude, he's concerned about where we're coming from. And because it's our heart, it's our inside that determines what our outside does. So if you fix the inside, the outside take care of itself. You don't have to worry about that. So he's coming down. So he's been comparing this, the self-righteous attitude of the Pharisees, and now he's going to get down to business because they're exposed to things, and nobody ever asks them to make a decision. They don't have to make a decision. It's important for us to share our faith in Christ with people, and people do that. It's a wonderful, good thing, but you got to make them make a decision. You got to make them come to a point. All right. So here's Jesus coming to the point. Look at verse 13. He says, "Enter in at the narrow gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leads to destruction. And many there be who go in that way. Because narrow is the gate, and hard is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it." From here on out, all the way through the end of the chapter here, Jesus is going to bring everything down to twos. There's a broad way, there's a narrow way. There's a strong foundation, a weak foundation. There's good fruit, there's bad fruit. It's always down to two. And when you think about it, that sure does simplify life. My wife sent me we needed some paint. I can't remember what we were painting. But she said, go to the store and get some white paint. And I said, no. She said, what do you mean, no? I said, I'm not going there to do that by myself. Not a chance. You're coming too. And she said, you just got to buy a gallon of white paint. I said, nah, come on. So we went over there, whatever store we were at, Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever. I said, they had 40 different kinds of white. And I looked at my wife and I said, pick your white. We're used to making, we got so many decisions. I mean, you go down the bread aisle at the store. All these different kinds of bread. You got bread here. We got so many things to pick and choose from. The more choices you have, the more complicated it gets. Jesus here is simplifying life to the ultimate. He says, you got a choice to make. You can make a good one, you can make a bad one. Now, we live in a world, notice what he says here. He says, enter in at the narrow gate. And then he comes right back to he says, wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction. And when it's talking about destruction, it's not talking about the fact that you're going to be destroyed. It's talking about the fact that everything's going to fall apart on you. And he says, and many there be that go in that way. And don't we live in a world, in a society where everybody's trying to go that way? They want to go the easy way. They want to go the wide way. They want to go the broad way. Everybody wants everything to be easy. We, in America in particular, believe incredibly everything's got to be easy. Isn't it? I mean, isn't that our goal? It's got to be easy. That's what it is, all right? And Jesus here says everybody wants to go that way. Why? Verse 14, because narrow is the gate and hard is the way which leads to what? Life. And few there be that find it. Jesus is telling us everybody ain't going to buy into this. He's already been telling us what is involved in being a believer and following in his steps. And he's talking about, remember we talked about the attitudes and all the Beatitudes and all that kind of stuff. All these things he's taught us, he's just put it all in together here. He says, there's not a lot of folks going to buy into this. Now, there's a lot of people out there who want to have a religious experience, but they don't want to have a difficult religious experience. They don't want anybody to tell them what's right and what's wrong. They don't want anybody to tell them that what sin is. I saw a most interesting thing. You all be pleased with this? You'll be pleased, those of you who are electronic geniuses. I looked at Facebook this week. I don't do this very often. And I said, I had a minute, and I was just sitting there and said, what is all on this thing? And I ran across this, and I was just absolutely floored. Dabo Swinney is the head coach of the Clemson Tigers in Clemson, South Carolina. A very good football coach and a very good football team. Dabo Swinney is up on a podium, and they asked him about the guy in San Francisco who's kneeling for the Kaepernick, yeah. Yep. And Dabo says, I wouldn't do it. He says, I wouldn't do anything to the guy if he's on the team if he wants to do that. He says, he's got a right to do that. He says, I don't think it's the right place to do it. And he says, not only is it not, because this is a team thing. You do everything together. You don't have these kind of things, distractions going on. And he's talking about that, and I said, oh, that's okay, and I understand where he's coming from. But then he went on. He said, and the problem here isn't whether he's got a right to do it or not. The problem is, and he starts talking about society. And he says, and I know y'all don't think this is right, and I'm going to tell you anyway, because it's not politically correct. He says, everybody's talking about the problems in our country. He says, the problems in our country can be narrowed down to one thing. It's sin. And I went, what? This is a football coach at a podium in front of all these people? He says, it's sin. And he says, we've got people who let sin control their life, and as a result, he says, the world's falling apart. And I'm going, wow, Dabo,
No.
You know, then I found out, yeah, the guy's a real strong Christian,
No,
believer, and he's right. You know, we everybody tries to give an explanation for everything that's wrong. Well, the problem is sin. I mean, that's what it is. And so Jesus is simply saying here, you got a choice. You could go the sinful route, or you can go my route. And he says, my route's going to be more difficult, and my route's going to be more challenging because the world who's taking the broad road isn't going to like you being on the narrow road. They're not going to like it at all, and they're going to react to it because you're going against the stream. You ever gone against the stream? You ever gone against the stream? I mean, you know, you ever gone against the crowd? You're flowing one way, and the whole crowd's flowing against you. That's kind of what it's like spiritually. We're flowing against the crowd. We're flowing with what's going on. And Jesus just says, look. The reality is, everybody's got to make a what? A choice. Got to make a decision. And people don't want it to be hard. I don't want it to be hard. You want it to be hard? Nobody wants it to be hard. And yet, being a believer and doing the things that God would have you do is going to make it what? Hard. All right? Because somebody ain't going to like what you're doing. And somebody's going to go against you. Now, he goes from there, and he goes into this next section for a really good reason. He says, look at verse 15, he says, beware of false prophets. Why? Because these are the guys who are going to lead you down the broad way. All right? They're the ones who aren't going to be there to take you where you're supposed to go. He says, beware. And when you see beware in Scripture, it's one of those words that means, wow, look out. There's something you got to be concerned about here. He says, beware of what? Of false prophets. This is the first major sermon that Jesus preaches in his ministry here at the Sermon on the Mount. And he's warning against false prophets. In his last major message, at the end of Matthew, there in Matthew chapter 24 and 25, what does he warn against them? He warns against what? False prophets. Now, let me stop for just a second. The word prophet, when I say prophet, what do you think of?
Speaker, somebody's protest.
Elijah, someone is prophesizing future things.
Okay, they're predicting future things. You're thinking of prophet, a particular prophet. Elijah would be a prophet. Okay, the word prophet in the New Testament doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to necessarily predict the future. It means you're going to speak forth. All right? And from a biblical standpoint, you're speaking forth the truth. Okay? Now, so he comes along and he says, you got people here who are going to tell you what? They're going to tell you false things. He says, beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Now, hold on a second. Everybody thinks, oh, they're amongst the sheep. No. They're imitating the shepherd. They've got sheep's clothing on. All the shepherds wore clothing that came from the wool of their sheep. So when he's talking, he uses this phrase here, they come to you in sheep's clothing, he's talking about the shepherd. He's talking about the leader. He's talking about those kind of guys. He says, you got to be aware of them because what are they? He says, they come to you looking like sheep, and yet inwardly they're ravening wolves. Now, you know what wolves do, right?
They eat the sheep.
They eat sheep, and they tear things up, and they're ferocious, and they're mean, and they're low down. Isn't that true? Yeah, they're out, they're devoured. And he says, so these false prophets are what? He says, they look good, but you got to be careful because they're going to mess you up really, really good. Now, the problem with most people today, the problem that most people have, is they can't tell a false prophet from a good one. They can't tell someone who's teaching the truth from someone who wasn't. Let me give you a couple examples. In the New Testament, they had some. This is not the Bible. This is some other stuff that they had up here, and they talked about what they did, just the Jewish life as Christians. They said they could always tell a real prophet, a real guy, a real preacher coming through. He would stay only for a day or two with them, and then as he stayed for only a day or two. Then he'd leave. He would only ask for bread and water. He wouldn't ask for anything else. And then when he got done, he'd leave. So figure that out. He just came, stayed for a couple of days, didn't ask for anything unusual, never asked for money. This day and time, we were just talking about it a little bit before we started here. You got all these guys, especially these guys on television, and what do they do? First of all, how do they dress?
They dress really nice.
They really, really do.
Rolex.
Yeah, the Rolex on. As somebody said, yeah, you got a Rolex on, all right. They drive really nice cars. They fly in their own private jets, all right. And all they do is they constantly ask for money, all right. It's all the time, all right. My word to you all is be careful of all of those guys, because not only do they, I mean, what they do, hey, they sound good. You have to understand something. A false prophet's not going to come out and preach against Jesus. He's going to come out and he's going to maneuver all over the place around you. What's this? The guy who's got the big place in Houston, he's on television, everybody tells books.
You ain't talking about Hagee, are you?
No, not Hagee. He's in San Antonio. He's the tall guy. He's got his blonde wife and
Joel Osteen?
Joel Osteen. Thank you.
Oh my God! No.
Thank you. The name just.
I love him.
Hold on a second. Here's why you like him. All right, you have to realize Joel Osteen is a psychological motivator.
Yeah, he's a motivational.
All right, he's a motivated salesman. Okay, but Joel Osteen, I saw this, read this, heard this. He said there's portions of scripture that I'm not ever going to preach on, which tells me why.
Well, scripture is good for edification.
Well, yeah, and he's telling me there's something wrong with it. I'm not going to do that because I don't like that stuff. Well, there's a whole lot of things in scripture I don't like. But that doesn't mean that it's wrong, and it doesn't mean that I can ignore teaching it to people. Right? So Joel's out there, and all these people down there in that big old place, and everywhere he goes, you know. And I mean, the guy's smooth as silk, you know. And don't misunderstand. He has a lot of good, positive things to say, but they're not necessarily biblical things.
To me, he's a motivational speaker.
Exactly, that's what he is. Okay, and it's all motivation. And again, he's using Jesus to kind of make it sound good. All right, that's the whole idea here. So you got all of these kind of folks, and Jesus says, "Look, be careful. They look like shepherds. They dress like shepherds, but what they're teaching, what they're preaching, and what they're doing, you can't rely upon. You just can't rely upon." While I'm talking about people, Kenneth Copeland. You know Kenneth Copeland?
Yes.
Seen him today, right at the end of TBN, or wanting people to donate to TBN.
Okay.
That guy's phony. He talked to Jimmy Swaggart in tongues.
Do you know? I saw a thing. They talked about 10 of these quote unquote preachers and how much money they have. Do you know Kenneth Copeland is at the top of the list? He has $750 million.
I like Ed
Whoa.
Young. I like
Yeah, I mean, there's some terrific guys up there.
what's the one with the white hair? I can't remember his name.
David Jeremiah.
David Jeremiah.
Yeah, Jeremiah's good.
Ed Young.
Ed
And
Young's
I like,
good.
What's his name?
I like Bill
Asian
Purvis.
guy.
I like that Prince guy.
I like Bill
Pastor
Purvis.
Prince.
Yeah.
Is it Joseph Prince?
Yeah.
Watch him.
I like him
I
because
Watch
he
what he
explains
says.
it.
Watch what he
I don't
says.
think he's very
Watch
good.
what he says. Watch what he says.
I
Enjoy
like how he
smiles.
explains stuff.
Yeah, but make sure he's explaining it right. You know.
Enjoy smiles too.
So there's all these guys, and you've got
I
to pay
like Ed
attention.
Young and David Jeremiah and what's the one that looks like Jimmy Carter? Whose name? He sits there and he holds the Bible and he goes,
Charles Stanley.
Charles.
Yeah, Charles Stanley's been around a long time.
Yeah.
All three of those guys are really solid guys. Now,
Those are
My
my
favorite one was Adrian
conversely,
Rogers.
you seen? Oh yeah, Adrian Rogers. Y'all seen Benny Hinn?
Oh,
Yeah.
he's a phony.
But look at how many thousands of people watch him and listen to
Oh,
him.
yeah, you
How
get
about the
Bill.
guy that brings up the wheelchair?
Oh, he does all sorts of stuff, you know. And
No,
guys,
the other guy,
it's
there's
a
the
show.
young guy.
It's a show.
He goes to Africa all the time and
Yeah.
oh yeah, we got this guy, he was blind when he came up here, but now he can see.
Yeah.
You ever listen to Bill Purvis?
I like
I've
Bill
heard of him,
Purvis.
but I don't think I've ever heard him.
Bill
He got his
Purvis.
throat
Bill
cut.
Purvis. Yeah, he got cut
Hold
when
on.
he was 18 years old and turned his life over to the Lord.
He was on early in the
Like that
morning.
there. He's really
There-
He
there's-
looks like his head's stuck in his shoulder.
Yeah.
But man, he's a good.
I mean, I'm not saying this about all the TV and radio guys. They're not all bad, obviously. The problem is you got to pay attention to what you're listening to and be careful because they're wolves in sheep clothing a lot. Okay, and all they do is ask for money. Your ears should perk up. You should go, if that's all they're
I
doing.
think
Or
Joyce
they-
Myers is a motivational speaker
She is too. Yeah, that's what she is.
Or they tell you how you're gonna get money.
Oh yeah.
by giving to them, you're
Yeah.
gonna get money.
Oh,
That's the thing they say. Oh, but God they say your father wants you to be a queen. Wants you to be a prince.
You listen to him.
And you have a big house and a
Right.
fancy car. So the more you give to us, the
Isn't
more
that
he's
what
gonna give you.
Why didn't
Oh,
Jesus
yeah.
have a big
Top
mansion?
off.
Why didn't he have the best chariot? Why didn't he go around with a
Something
whole
better
retinue of
pop
people
off,
taking
better-
care of him? Why was that? You know, if he wants everybody to have it, Scripture says he had one robe,
Give you stuff if you
No
pray
place to
for
lay
it.
your
Oh,
head.
no place to lay his head. So you know, how are you gonna? You know, you just can't justify it, right?
Booby.
But notice what he says, verse 16. You're gonna be able to pick up on these guys. He says, "Ye shall know them by their fruits." He says, "Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles?" And of course the answer is no. But what Jesus is getting to here, from a distance, you might see some grapes stuck to some bush that's got thorns, or figs stuck to thistles, and it looks like they're on a real tree until you get close, and then you start looking at it. He says, "Look," he says, "you're going to know by the fruit." Look, verse 17. He says, "So every good tree brings forth good fruit, but every corrupt tree brings forth bad fruit." Well, it's pretty simple, isn't it? Again, you got a wide way and a narrow way. You got a good tree, you got a bad tree. You got good fruit, and you got bad fruit. Life is pretty simple. All right. He says, "A good tree," verse 18, "a good tree cannot bring forth bad fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit." It's just not possible. If you're corrupt, you're bringing forth bad fruit. If you're a good tree, you bring forth good fruit. It's pretty simple.
But interpreting that to like
Well,
what they
no.
like, I don't know how to still tell the difference. Because, like I might think someone said the right thing or the wrong thing, but the people they're reaching, are they bringing them? I mean, how do they tell?
Well,
Fruit, you know?
that's why we've got to pay attention again to what they're saying and what they're doing. Okay, and if they're not teaching the Word of God, if they're not giving you the Bible, all right, that's the first thing. If they're questioning anything at all about the Lord Jesus, that's another thing. You know, and a lot of these guys that are teaching and doing this stuff, they've got all these slick little ways of going around the Scriptures, and that's what you got to pay attention to. Verse 19, every tree that brings not forth fruit shall not be cut down. These guys.
Rubies.
And they're going to be cast in the fire. He says, "Wherefore by their fruits you shall know them." It's a simple thing. So not only these guys, this happens to be the context that Jesus is in, but not only these guys, but what about everybody? Can't you tell everybody by their fruit? Can't you? I know a guy. I know a guy who's I've known his son for a long time, and his son's a really good guy. I have a wonderful good relationship with his son, and his son's now in his 40s. All right, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. I've known him since he was in high school, and I don't necessarily believe he's a believer. You know why? There's no proof. I see no evidence of Christianity in his life. None. All right? So if you're going to be a believer, you're going to have good fruit, and the good fruit's going to reproduce more good fruit, or it's going to produce bad fruit. And bad fruit's going to reproduce what? More bad fruit. It's just that simple. So so the issue is we have to pay attention not only to just what people are saying and doing, but does their life give any kind of indication that they're an example of what they believe? It's like this. I can tell you, did you know that I'm the greatest baseball player in the history of the world? And you're going to go, really?
I knew that.
Well, yeah, well, here you said, so tell you what, go out here and hit a ball for me. How far can you hit it? You want me to do what? Show you. Show me. That's what James said. He says, we're going to show our faith by our works. He says, if our faith is real, we're going to be able to see it by what we say and what we do. And he says, these guys, and again, to put it back in context, Jesus here is talking about all these false teachers and preachers. He says, you got to be careful, because the fruit that they're producing is what? Bad. All right? If you got here, I got a little thing for you. Come over to 2 Corinthians chapter 11. Further over in the New Testament. We'll just look at a couple verses here. And 2 Corinthians 11, and down in verse 13. Paul says some really interesting things. 2 Corinthians 11, verse 13. When you mention the word devil to people, Most people think of a guy with horns and a red suit and a pitchfork. 2 Corinthians 11 and verse 13. All right? People think of the devil. We're coming not too far from Halloween. Oh, the devil will be out there. Red suit, horns, right?
Yeah.
And, and if the devil looked like that, good grief, everybody in the world would run. I mean, you have anything to do with it, all right? Look at 2 Corinthians 11 and verse 13. Paul here, echoing what Jesus says. For such are what? False apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ. He says, and no marvel. He says, don't be surprised. For Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. Jesus says, look, the devil is an angel of light. That's how he started, and that's how he still appears. Even though he's as wicked all the way down to the inside as he can be, he's just wicked as he can be. But he says all those who follow him, all these false teachers, what they're doing is the same kind of thing. He says they look good, they sound good, and boy, if you just listen to them, and boy, the other thing that all these guys do is it's all emotion. Have you ever noticed that? It's all emotion. They want everybody to get emotional. Folks, I've been at this a long time. Do you know that if I really wanted to, right now, sitting here in this living room, I could get you all teared up? You see, how could you do that? Start telling stories. Tell you stories that bring sympathy. Bring stories that make you feel bad. Bring stories that make you feel good. Just emotional type stories. You can do it. And then I'm going to, my voice could crack up a little bit. And I had I'll never forget this when I was first preaching. I hadn't done this very long. And I don't know what went on that morning, but there was a song in front of where I got up, and the Lord just spoke to my heart. And I started crying.
That just embarrasses me so bad.
But I know, I started crying. And then I had to preach. And I preached the whole sermon crying.
I did that.
Because I don't know, whatever it was, And we had a wonderful good morning, and I had this one dear sweet lady come up to me, and she said, Pastor, I love you to death. Don't you ever do that again. She says, I don't think I was going to make it through.
They think it's phony.
Well, but she didn't think I was phony. She just said my getting so emotional, she couldn't control her emotions either. I mean, the whole crowd was crying. Yeah. Why? Well, because I was crying. It's like I've always wanted to do this, and I've never done it. I've always wanted to get in front of a crowd and go,
Oh, yeah.
No.
And everybody in the place would yawn. I just wanted, because you could do it, all right? These guys, these false teachers, these false prophets, these false apostles, these angels of light, just like the devil, they're doing the same thing, and they're emotionally getting people hooked. Once they get you emotionally hooked, you got a tear going down your cheek, and they say, now here I'm going to pass the offering plate. Be sure to give all that you can to Jesus, and He'll bless you 10 times more over. And people go, okay, and they just get it out and throw it in there. Why? Because they're emotionally moved. Okay. And you and I and there's nothing wrong with emotions. You have to understand that. There's nothing wrong with it. Jesus gave us emotions. God designed us with emotions. But you can't let your emotions control you. Dr. James Dobson, Focus on Family, he wrote a book years ago called Emotions Being Trusted. And I heard he was being interviewed on some television, a radio show. And they said, the guy asked him, he said, so the name of your book, Emotions, Can You Trust Them? He said, can you boil this down for us? He said, yeah, no. He says, you can't trust your emotions. The answer is no. He says, if you don't read the book, you can't trust your emotions. Why? Because your emotions are going to what? Yeah, and they're going to change. Well, they're going to change. They're going to change, all right? And these false prophets, what they do is they get people emotionally hooked. And in the process of getting emotionally hooked, they begin to make emotional decisions. And before you know it, their decisions have got them into all sorts of problems and all sorts of grief because the emotion doesn't last once they leave. The emotion doesn't last once the television turns off. The emotion doesn't last once the radio's turned off. So you and I have got to be aware of this. We got to pay attention to this. And like Paul says, look, be aware. Watch out. He says these are false people. They're false prophets. And he says they're false. They're deceitful workers. They're out to deceive you and me. And they do such a wonderful good job. So you and I have got to be prepared for this. And so Jesus here, he's bringing his sermon to an end. And he says, look, it's decision-making time. Who are you going to believe? Who are you going to listen to? Me or them? All right? There's choices to be made all the way along. So as you talk to folks, and as I talk to folks, we've got to get them to what? Make a decision. We got to get them to make a decision. All right? And because if you don't make a decision, well, nothing happens. If there's no decision made, nothing's going on. There has to be a decision made. You know, it's just like this. I mean, it's like when you met Pauline, Jerry. If you said, Pauline, will you marry me? And she said,
sure.
I don't know. I'll get back to you. You know, you wouldn't have been married 50 years. She had to say what?
Yes.
Now, whether she regrets that, I'm not going to get into it. But the thing is, she made a decision.
She don't never regret it.
Well, no, she would regret that. The thing is, that's where we are. You know, we got to make decisions. And sometimes we make good ones, sometimes we make bad ones, but we've got to make decisions. And if we let the Lord guide, direct us, we're going to go the narrow way. It might be the more difficult way, and yet it's going to get us to where we need to go. Okay? So as we go out from here and as we go through the next week here and everything we do, let's get people, let's help them make good decisions. Because you're going to be surprised, people don't know what's right. They don't know what's right and what's wrong anymore. They have no clue. They have no clue. And somebody's got to tell them. It's astounding what they don't know. Especially the younger generation, your generation, the millennials, all these in their 20s and early 30s. They don't know. I don't know what happened, but something didn't get translated, and they don't know what to do. And they're just going through life the best way they know how, with no guidance and no direction. And then if they hook onto somebody, 9 times out of 10, it's somebody who's telling them something false. Okay? So let's see what we can do with that, all right? Let's pray and let's just ask the Lord for help, shall we? Lord Jesus, we thank you for loving us, and Lord, we thank you that we've chosen the narrow way. Lord, help us to indeed follow along that narrow way, no matter how difficult it might come. And Lord, may we stand for you in the midst of the broad way that leads to destruction. Lord, I pray that you'll help us to help others make good decisions, because the world is full of people making bad ones. And Lord, we're just going to thank you for how you're going to use us and what's going to happen in people's lives as a result of the decisions that they're going to have to make. And we're going to thank you, and we're going to praise you for it now in Jesus' most precious name. Amen. And amen. And amen.
Alrighty. Ruby, say bye-bye, Facebook.
Yeah, good. I try to make sense.